What if you never had to make another phone call again? Imagine an AI-powered assistant that's able to find businesses, automatically gather their phone numbers, and book appointments for you 100% automatically, all done for you without you having to do a thing. Whether you need a restaurant reservation, a hair appointment, or client follow-ups, this N8N voice AI agent is going to be able to handle it all for you, all hands-free. And the best part, I'll show you how to build this from scratch in today's video. So let's jump into a quick demo so we can see it in action. We're going to send this off again. Remember, we're going to be able to interact with our memory. We are going to be able to pull back some of the content around when is Friday, what's the date time. We're going to go off and search our Google contacts, make sure that we know what it is. We're now going to come through and be able to trigger our phone call. So we should get one coming through.
Hello, I'm calling on behalf of Alex to confirm if he is available for dinner this Friday at 7 p.m.
Yeah, he should be free. Just wanted to double check if we're doing golf as well.
I am not certain about the golf plans. Please speak to Alex directly to confirm. Would you like me to let Alex know about the golf question?
No, that's fine. Thank you. For the dinner, where are we going to be sitting?
I'm not aware of the dinner location. You would need to confirm that with Alex directly. However, I can share that Alex prefers a window seat and does not drink alcohol, so you might want to consider that while finalizing the venue. Let me know if you need further assistance.
No, that's all. Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
There we go. So that'll finish off. We'll now come up to the top here. We won't be able to see it, but it'll come up to the top here. We're going to actually get that response back, and then it will come back into here. So as we can see in the background here, so it's just got a confirmation that we're able to call him, the phone number we called. He also asked if he might be free to play golf. So again, it's captured that details, it's passed it back. If you're part of our community, you can come into our classroom. You'll be able to come across to our AI agent area. We'll come down to the latest post here, and you'll be able to get access to all of the resources included in today's video. So all you would need to do is come across, import from a file, specify the file that we're going to be working with, so the JSON one, and then you'll be able to upload it into here, and it's all going to be ready to go for you automatically straight away. That's how easy it's going to be. But as mentioned, we're going to go through and build this from scratch together. So let's get rid of this and we'll start it from scratch. Now, there are many different ways that you'll be able to start this agent. We're going to be using the simple chat interface today, but if you wanted to use WhatsApp, Telegram, any other platform, you'd be able to do that as well. So we're going to come in here, do add step, we're going to do chat, and we're going to do chat trigger. The next part, we're then going to go and put our AI agent in there. So we'll come down to advanced AI, and we'll just put our AI agent, and we're going to be using a tool agent. It's connected to the chat trigger mode, which was just what we were using before. So it's automatically identified that, and that's great because that's what we're going to be using. So for the chat model, this is going to be our AI brain. There's a few different options. We're going to use OpenRouter because that gives us access to be able to import and use whichever LLM we want. We've covered other videos how to connect it up. All you need to do is add your API key in here. And to find that, all you need to do is come across to OpenRouter, click create a key. You'll be able to go and add it in there. Maybe you'll give it a limit if you want to make sure that you can keep an eye on it. You'll copy, and then we'll come back across, add it in here. It will go green and you'll be all good to go. That's how easy it is to do. And as we can see here, we've got DeepSeek, we've got Claude, we've got all of the different ones that we would want to use in here. Nice and easy and readily available. So let's just rename this to AI Brain. Brilliant. So the next part we're going to go and add is around memory. So what this means is, as we can see here, it's got that number 5. That basically denotes that it's going to remember the last 5 messages that came through in this chat, and it'll be able to actually converse with it or have some other context from those conversations. Now that's going to be the first part. We've now got 4 different options, so we're going to run through them quickly so we can get onto that core part around making the AI phone call. So first we're going to do Google Calendar. What we want to do is come in here, make sure you're connected. Again, we've got other videos that show you how to do that. Once you've got it all signed in, you'll be good to go. We're going to come down and do calendar. We're going to do availability. We're going to choose our calendar. And then the next part, we're going to come down to start time. We're going to paste in here from AI start time. And then we'll come down here and do AI end time. And what this basically means is it's going to use the AI brain or LLM to really identify that start and end time. And then it's going to go through and search it automatically versus us having to specify a specific variable for it to go through and always look at. So that's going to be checking our availability. Brilliant. So the next part we've got in here around Google Sheets. In one of the other videos that we got on the channel, we were able to scrape all of this data using Apify and Google Maps to extract all of this business data and store it in a Google Docs, we're going to be using that exact same document, which is going to be our scrape anything document. And then we're going to use sheet 1, which is where we were storing all of the information. So now we're able to dynamically engage with that data, just as we did in the other video. We'll rename this to just business data. Now, this is where we're going to have to build 2 separate workflows. But firstly, let's come in here and do call workflow. So we can give this the name of trigger phone call. And we can just say, there we go, create description. We then need to actually connect it. So that's what we're going to go through and do in a second. We'll rename this to trigger phone call. There we go. And the other one we're going to do in here is around actually finding our contacts in Google. So we'll rename this to find contacts in Google or find contact details. And we'll just give this description of, there we go. And what we're basically going to be doing with this one is using our Google Contacts integration to be able to trigger it. So now we need to come through and generate these 2 separate workflows. So as you can see here, we've got one to trigger the phone call and this other one here to actually find the contacts. This one's nice and easy, so let's start with that. We'll come into here and say find contacts in Google. Then we can do the first part here, which is just around when executed by another workflow. So again, we'll go back and specify that in a second. We're going to accept all of the data that comes through. And then the next part, we're going to come in here and do Google and we'll do contacts. There we go. And then what we're going to do is get a contact. We'll change this to get many. We're going to limit it back to 1 because we only want that one person to come back. And then the fields we're looking for, so this is what's going to be returned to us. We want their name and then we want their phone number as well. There we go. We can use the query. And just for time, we're going to paste that in here. We can do expression as JSON query. And what this is basically going to do is just when the information gets sent across from our main AI agent with the name, it's going to go off and try and find that person. Brilliant. So that's the first part done. Let's come back into our main workflow. And now we're going to specify find contacts in Google. There we go. So now I'll be able to trigger that specific workflow. And we'll just rename this to find contacts in Google. There we go. So this next part, which is the key part, is around triggering a phone call. So we're going to come into our new workflow and we're going to do execute by another workflow. We're going to come down and do accept all data that's coming through just for ease. What we're then going to do is have a open AI module, because what we need to be able to do is understand the query that we've had come across, format that query so that we can pass it into our VAPI request that we're going to be sending off, so that we can actually engage with that customer dynamically and make sure that we're dynamically engaging with the person at the other end so that we're getting a great experience. So we'll just use this message a model, and then for the model we'll just do 4, so we'll come up for 4.0. We'll just select the latest one, and then we're going to have 2 prompts in here. So we're going to have a system prompt and then we're going to have a user prompt. I've already got these defined, so we're going to copy them across. Brilliant, so they're copied across, and if you're looking for them, they're also in the community here, so you can pull them across nice and easy. So what we've got in here, the actual prompt, again, we're just giving it some really clear information around the role, context, really known details, the task it's going to complete. We've got example input, the example output we're looking for, the collaboration with the other tools that it's got access to, lots of different points in here. We're looking for that optimal outcome at the end. So we'll just rename this to format for VAPI. Brilliant. The next part, we actually need to trigger that request. So we'll do HTTP, make a request, and then we're going to do post. Now, this is where we need to come out of our NA10 account and we need to come into VAPI. And VAPI is an amazing platform for developers around voice AI. As we can see here, so many integrations. It's really tailored to get what you want out of it versus having a really fixed model that some of the other platforms out there provide. As we can see here, really quick latency, providing some really great experiences, almost natural, human-like, because what we tend to see is a human takes around 600 milliseconds to 1 second to understand and then provide a response. So the closest we are to that, the better. And what we've also got in here as well, which is really key from the pricing point of view, is we've got a flat fee that we're working with. So VAPI is 5 cents per minute. And then when we go and add our modules on top of that, like the transcriber or the voice that we're going to be using, we tend to see the price increase, normally around to sort of 15 cents per minute, plus or minus a few cents per minute. So what we need to do is come in, log into our account, and then we're going to come to the top here, create an assistant. They've got a few examples here. Again, we need to come in and just do AI calling agent, and then we're going to do blank template. And then we'll come down to the bottom and we'll do create assistant. So this is going to set it up. This is exactly how it will look. You're then going to come through to transcriber. You'll see that the price and latency jumps up a bit. We're going to come through to the voice. Again, you can change this to whatever you want. We can add some tools in here. So if you want some really clear functionality of integrating with your calendar or doing anything in that, you're able to do that here as well. You can do some advanced features in here. We're not focusing on this today because we're going to be using an API request instead, but we need this assistant ID in the top left-hand side to be able to trigger the HTTP request that we're going to be sending through shortly. So we'll just change this to our GPT-4o cluster, and I've just pasted in some other details in here. Again, this is just some examples. We're not going to be using this. We're going to be using our HTTP request to be able to do this outbound phone call. So how do we do this? Well, if you come into the API documentation, I'll include the links below. What we'll have here is this request here. So we're looking for create a call and we need this URL. So we're going to copy that. We'll come back into our workflow. So we'll come in here and then we're going to paste that in there. So that's going to be sending the request off to this specific URL to go through and do it. Now we need two fields here. So we're going to have, if we come into here, you're going to see that we've got the authorization and then the content type. So we want to copy authorization, paste in here, and then we want to come down here and do bearer. And then we're going to put our token in here, our key, our API key in there in a second. The next part we need to come through and just copy across this content type. We'll copy and then paste in name. And then the second part, we just need this application JSON. So we'll copy that. And then we'll put it in this second part here. So that's going to be good to go. So let's add our API key in here. So we need to come down to the bottom. We'll go to API keys. What you can do is come into here and then you'll see that you're able to create a new key in the top right hand side. I'd recommend going through and doing this. And all you need to do is tie it to the assistant that we had a bit earlier. So as you can see down here, AI calling agents. Now we can call it AI calling agent. And then we can say create a private token. And then it'll come down to the bottom here and we can copy that, come back into our main workflow, paste that after bearer, and now that's all good to go. The second part, we need to come down to our body. We're going to do JSON and then using JSON. This is where we're going to build out the HTTP request, actual information that we're sending across. So again, if you come into our create a call function, once you've added your API key at the top here, your bearer token, you're then going to be able to go through and specify all these different fields. And this is exactly the same way as we would be doing it on our dashboard naturally in the assistants if I come back to them. So as we can see in here, all we're doing is working with it more like a developer. So it's just turning these on or off or specifying them. So as we can see in here, for example, we specified the assistant ID. So again, that's exactly the same as what we would have here. So you just want to copy that and then you'll be able to paste in here. We'll be able to come down and do the transcriber. So in this case, we've got TalkScriber, we've got English, we've got Whisper, we've got Claude. Again, you can go through and specify all of these different points. What we're looking for is to have some that we're going to change. So in here, we're going to change the content. We're also going to come down and we're going to specify a first message because we want to be able to change that. We can come a bit further down. We've given it some background noise to make it sound a bit more realistic, like it's a human they're engaging with. And then we need to be able to specify the phone number ID of our phone numbers. And to find that, you need to come into your dashboard, across the phone numbers, copy this phone number you're going to have here, paste it in there, and it'll be all good to go. And the second part is we need to make this dynamic for adding the customer phone number in there as well. So that's where you need to have that in there. Again, you can go through and change this to whatever you want. You can also test it in here by doing the send request. And you'll see all of the different points on the right-hand side here. And at the bottom, you'll also get all of the information come through. If it's 201, that means it was successful. If you're looking at 400, that means it was a bad request and it wasn't able to go through and do it. If you don't see this screen straight away, you've probably come through and seen it like this. So this is going to be what it looks like straight away. All you need to do to get to that screen that we were is go to try it, and then you'll be able to go through and add all of the points. Now, I've already got the actual request, the JSON request we're going to be sending across ready to go. So I'm going to paste that in there. And again, what we've done here is just made it a bit more dynamic. So if we come and add this in here, we're going to do expression. And then what we've got is a couple of fields that are going to be sent across. So if we see in here, we've got our assistant ID that we were using. We've then also got the system prompt in here. So this is where, for example, in our dashboard, we would specify in our assistant down here. All we're doing is actually specifying it more manually in here. So we're saying the goal, we're saying what they need to do, we're giving it some context. I've also got some JSON messages in here. We're going to go through and do that together in a second. And then we've specified some other fields. So again, you can really tailor this to what you want. And at the bottom, we've also made it dynamic for that customer's name and their phone number address at the bottom as well. So we can go through and make a request. So we'll rename this to make a phone call. And what we can do is specify that as the test data we're going to be running through with. So that'll turn it purple, just so we can show how it's working and you'll be able to see it. We'll just disconnect this so it doesn't make an actual phone call because that phone number doesn't exist. But it should come through, and what we'll see is it update the format and the output of the actual request we're going to be making. So as we can see on the right hand side here, it's output the actual data. It looks like we forgot to put it to JSON. So let's just retest that again. We're looking for JSON because we need the specific parts to be able to add into the HTTP request we're going to be sending off. So now if we come back and change it, there we go. So now we've got the name, the phone number, the start time, the dates, all of this information, and that's what we're going to be passing through. So now if I come back into our request and we connect this all back up, there we go. If we come back in here, what we should see is these have all now gone green, because on the left-hand side here, this is the information we're going to be getting from our original main workflow, and we're going to be passing it all into here. Again, you can make this all dynamic, so you'll be able to engage with them with a personalized conversation. Now, the next part is in here, we've got to be able to capture that transcript that's gone through the end of call report function that we've got in VAPI, so that we can use our OpenAI module on the right-hand side here to tell ourselves back in the main workflow if our conversation was successful or if it wasn't successful, so we can go through and update us and to know if the agent was successful in what it was going through and completing. So the next part here is we're going to do HTTP request again. We're going to come here and we're going to do get. We then come across to this one here. So again, we're looking for our get call request within our documentation. We're going to come in here again. You need to make sure that you add your API key in here to get it. What we need to do is come and copy the URL we're going to be using. So we'll come back into our workflow and we're going to do get. We're going to paste in there, and then we're going to need to change this token, and we're going to change it for the JSON ID, change it for expression, and then we'll be able to use it in the future. The only next part we need to do in here is the headers. So again, this is going to be our authorization, because as you can see here, we need to specify the authorization for us to be able to capture this data. So bearer, and then we need to add our API key in here as well. There we go, all added in, all ready to go. What we can now do is make sure that's all tied up, and we'll rename this to get end of call report, and we'll do so. So the next parts that we've got in here, all we're doing is waiting to see if we've got that transcript come through yet. If we have, brilliant, we'll try and go back to our main agent, say that we've completed it. If not, we're going to keep looping around and just waiting for that confirmation to come through. So we'll come in here and we'll do wait, and then we can change this to what we want. I'm just going to set it for 10 seconds. So it's going to wait 10 seconds and then complete this process again. And then all we need to do is come in here and do an if statement. Now, to actually get the variables, we're going to need to go through and test it. But what we want to say is not empty, and we should be able to specify the actual transcript in here in the future. For false, we're going to bring that back round to the start here. And if true, we're going to come up to the top and we're going to use OpenAI, and we're going to do message a model. And then what we're going to do in here is just do 4.0, and then we'll come down and select the latest one. Again, we just need to put our prompt in there we're going to be using. All this is saying is a very simple prompt. It's basically asking us to confirm back to the actual individual in our main prompt that we've got if it was successful. We've also said do not mention executive summary at the start, just because it seems to do that every now and again. So this will enable us to get the response back to us in the main workflow if we're able to make the phone call or not. So we'll just put this as confirmation step. Brilliant. So let's give it a quick test. I'm just going to specify the phone number so we can give that a quick test. We'll just do test workflow, should come through and format it for what we need, and then trigger the phone call and actually be able to engage with us dynamically. Oh, it looks like there is an issue. There we go, all updated. It was just the phone number variable, just needed to rechange that. So now it should come through and trigger a phone call for us automatically. So we'll wait for that to come through. There we go, we can see it coming through.
AI assistant calling to help organize a dinner reservation for next Friday at 7 p.m.
Brilliant, yeah, we're all confirmed. He's going to be available for that time.
Great. Does that mean you're confirming the reservation? Alex would also prefer a window seat and doesn't drink alcohol, so please keep that in mind. Let me know if anything else needs to be arranged.
No, that's absolutely fine. I can confirm that that's all good, all in place.
Perfect, thank you. I'll let Alex know everything is confirmed with a reservation for next Friday at 7 p.m. with a window seat and alcohol-free options in mind. Have a great day.
Thanks, bye-bye. So there we go, able to get the phone call come through automatically. What we should see now is it's going to go through and realize that that phone call is completed. So now in this wait sequence, it will go up to the top, provide that confirmation back into our main workflow. So let's make sure that we can tie it all together, and we'll go through and give it a test end to end in a second so that we can see it in real life, how it's going to work and how it would be received on the other end as someone receiving that phone call. Oh, it looks like it's in an infinite loop there. I think that's because we got to specify in here. So we're looking for that transcript in the value 1. We're saying that we don't want it to be empty, and then it should go through and process it. So now if we come through and give it a test end to end, we should see it all working successfully. So if we come back into our main workflow, we'll just update these so that ties into our calling. There we go. Now we're all connected. And the second one here, we'll just make sure that we're all connected in for our find contacts. So just to show you the other part as well for our contacts, if we come into here, what we'll be able to do is give it some dummy data. So we'll come in here, we'll just specify that the query is me. So now if we do test workflow, it should go off and find that individual. So as you can see here, it's now retrieving all of that information, which is great. And we've got the phone number down there, which is what we're going to be pulling through into our main agent so that we're able to go through and make that phone call to that person because we know exactly who it is. So we come back, we're going to get rid of this dummy data. So that's all saved, all good to go. We'll do save. So now what we should be able to do is we come back into our main workflow. We'll say, please tell me what Alex Followell's phone number is. Now it should go off and check our find contacts in Google. So there we go. It's now come back and it can tell us our phone number here. So again, if you had lots of contacts or you were going to a certain appointment every single week, every single month, and you had that stored in here, it'd be able to dynamically retrieve it. Again, we've got this Excel Google Sheets in here as well. So we can go off and scrape company data, and then we'd be able to integrate them and phone them. Again, noting in different parts of the world, there are different rules and regulations about that. So just make sure that you're abiding by that where you're actually doing some cold calling or reaching out to businesses. So before we go through it and trigger the AI phone call, what we need to do is give our actual AI agent a prompt so it knows how to engage, what data to send across. So we'll come in here and we'll paste that in there. Again, one of the prompts that we've got access to, we'll just open this up so you can see. Again, similar to the other one that we had, just giving it some context information, the task, what it's going to be doing, how it's going to be engaging. We're also specifying when it's working with Google Calendar, it's using that ISO 8601 format, which is what it needs to be able to actually go off and do that request and find it. We've also provided it, for example, the current date time, so it knows what we're talking about if we say, please book a meeting for Wednesday. So now if we give it a quick test end to end, what we're going to say is please ring Alex Followell, confirm he's available for dinner at 7 p.m. on Friday. We're going to send this off. Again, remember, we're going to be able to interact with our memory. We are going to be able to pull back some of the content around when is Friday, what's the date time. We're going to go off and search our Google contacts, make sure that we know what it is. We're now going to come through and be able to trigger our phone call. So we should get one coming through.
Hello. I'm calling on behalf of Alex to confirm if he is available for dinner this Friday at 7 p.m.
Yeah, he should be free. Just wanted to double check if we're doing golf as well.
I am not certain about the golf plans. Please speak to Alex directly to confirm. Would you like me to let Alex know about the golf question?
No, that's fine. Thank you. For the dinner, where are we going to be sitting?
I'm not aware of the dinner location. You would need to confirm that with Alex directly. However, I can share that Alex prefers a window seat and does not drink alcohol, so you might want to consider that while finalizing the venue. Let me know if you need further assistance.
No, that's all. Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
There we go. So that'll finish off. We'll now come up to the top here. We won't be able to see it, but it'll come up to the top here. We're going to actually get that response back, and then it will come back into here. So when this goes green, we should go back over to our AI brain that we've got in the main agent, just formalize that response that we've actually got and provide it back to us in here. Again, this is all done automatically. Imagine if you never had to phone yourself manually, if you've got a list of clients that you were trying to follow up with, or you had to book appointments with constantly whilst you were on other phone calls, you'd be able to do this automatically. And as we can see in the background here, so it's just got a confirmation that we're able to call him, the phone number we called. He also asked if he might be free to play golf. So again, it's captured that details, it's passed it back. You'll be able to engage with this with Telegram, WhatsApp, so many different ways. I hope this has been useful. It's been a really quick demo. Click on the links below to get access to all of the resources. Stay tuned for more around AI agents and have a great day.